All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Hello with DJ Larry. And it's been a while since I've done one of these episodes. I kind of feel rusty, and I didn't make it any easier on myself today because I probably have the most multifaceted person I've ever talked to today. So this is going to be pretty interesting. So on October the 12th of this year, there will be a showcase, and it is called Black Art and Black Medicine, and it will be at number 2 Vance on 325 Wagner Street in Memphis, Tennessee. And it is meant to be a conversation to align your creative gifts with a spiritual practice. This is being presented by the Friends with Imagination. So I figured I'm curious about Black art, I'm curious about Black medicine and the combination. So who better to have on the person who's curating this? A docent, a friend with imagination, a pack leader, the brilliant one herself, Miss Lola Nicole. Hey Lola, how are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me. This is so great. And you said
Yeah,
docent correct as
I
well. Yes,
did. I
you
did.
did. Yeah.
Oh man, yes, yes. I'm not gonna lie. When trying to figure out how to say it at first, I was so nervous I was gonna mess it up, and I was like, I don't know if you ever heard of Max B before, but he has this saying,
What all these words? What all these preposterous words?
and it sounds, and it's like it's not a preposterous word, but it's like, all right, is it docent? So I'm glad
Yeah.
I went with my brain and said docent. So okay,
Yes,
all
you
right.
said it.
So, what is a docent for those who have no idea what that is?
Right. So a docent is essentially someone who has knowledge of a certain museum, and then also like the art pieces in that museum and just the museum as a whole from like its history and everything like that. I am still fairly new. I graduated the program probably right after my birthday. So yeah, that's pretty much what a docent is. And last time I checked, only 5% of docents are actually African American. So I didn't even really know what it was. I was on Brooks Museum website just trying to volunteer,
Hmm.
and that was the only thing that you could really volunteer for. And so I ended up in it, and now I'm even on the docent council. So yeah. Oh, this is gonna kill me. This is funny. I love it.
Thank you. So, at what point, I'll start with the show before I get into your other endeavors. So, for those that don't know, I know DJ Brilli, the brilliant one, as I like to say. And I remember earlier this year, it was in April, I want to say, you were doing, it was a showcase that you were DJing at the Brooks Museum of Art. Or is it,
That was
was it
March.
April? March. It was March. Okay.
Mhm.
But I remember missing it because my health was at a bad point, so I had to stay home that day. But I was like, damn, I wanted to be there. And then like, ain't nothing worse than when you see something like you look at the IG reel or you look at the story and it's
Yeah.
like, I wish I was there. So yeah, and it looked like a great time. But then following from there, following my friend of the show, Bitch Bops, shout out to Ashley, seeing the different showcases there, I was like, okay. So I kept on going, and then we actually met in person for the first time last Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was funny because I was walking, I was like, okay, where are they? And I was just like following the music, and I was following the trail, and I was like, okay, so I see this this young lady sitting down. It's got to be her. So yeah. So in general, going from that moment back then to now, I knew you as a DJ. I did not know you were a docent. So, what made you say, okay, let's put on an exhibit talking about hoodoo, black art, black medicine? And as you explain that, can you kind of give a preview of what people can expect when they go to this event on this upcoming Sunday?
Yeah. So actually, before all of this, and first, before anything, I
Hmm.
identify as a creative director. So I started creative directing shoots like when I was 17, 18 years old, and I was really big on symbolism.
Okay.
And a lot of that symbolism was like spiritual. It would be colors, it would be like things like that. One of my birthday, all of them are like spiritual, but like my second to last birthday shoot I did was inspired by one of my birthdays that was actually on the wolf moon, which is
Okay.
a full moon. And I
Okay.
think the wolf moon is like actually the first full moon in January, something like that. And
Okay.
so my birthday is January 6th. So I was like, okay. And at that time, I had kind of just experienced a lot of feelings of being an outcast. And even my caption was, they threw me to the wolves and I came out leading the pack. So it's like a way of like alchemizing my energy in doing so. And so to me, all everything that I've done has been very spiritual. And so when you come down to like hoodoo and stuff like that,
Hmm.
um that is how my visual art, whether if it's like videos or like my rollouts for my brand, a lot of symbolism, but it's just again like alchemizing that energy. And so that comes from me always operating in a very spiritual place. So I like put a poll on one of my pages one day and I was asking people like, do they incorporate their creative process with the spiritual process? And there were crickets. Like either nobody said anything or they were just too shy to say something, because anytime you say the word spiritual, people think that you're talking about crystals, or think you're talking about summoning demons. I don't know. Like they just lose their mind and they just think that it does not make any sense. And I'd be
Right.
like, to me, even from a Christian standpoint, like I've just kind of accumulated the way of thinking that religion is like the baseline and spirituality is just that implementation. Like you go to church, that being a Christian is all the things in the Bible, but the spirituality part is you implementing it like in your day-to-day life, like including God on the conversations before you buy a purchase, before you decide on a venue, like all these things. So for me, black art and black medicine, I've always just been in it. My family is from Memphis. They're also from Alabama, South Carolina, being Gullah Geechee culture, Louisiana, Mississippi. So for me, it's just always been inevitable. Yeah, like Native American, it's who I am. And at a very young age, I was so disturbed by the Black diaspora that like I have always tried to figure out like who I am, because I saw other cultures have that. And, they didn't miss a beat. They had community, they knew who they were, they had confidence. And a lot of my confidence comes from me being able to know like who I am culturally. So, black art, black medicine, there will be people there who are heavily rich in their religion and their spirituality. Nadifa, who practices Islam, she'll be there. Patience, who practices hoodoo. Andrew, he's an omnius, so he understands all religions. He's also a PK, so he knows a lot of knowledge as well. Me, I grew up in Catholic school and I went to Kojic Church. So, being in a Catholic environment, in a Kojic environment, just made me who I am. And of course, Nana. Nana has knowledge across the Black diaspora. I think her background is from Ghana, Brazil, Angola, Sierra Leone, and a few other places, and as well as Stephanie, who has her knowledge as well. So it just will be a place to be engulfed in just Black knowledge and culture. Like the climate of the world right now, like there is an attack on people of color, and I think it is also just because we have the knowledge to know where we come from now, and that's something that we'll talk about too in European cultures. European cultures also have culture. And I just saw this TikTok last night, but it's a it's a lot going on. But I think at least for black art and black medicine, it's just a space for black people, no matter what their religion is, no matter what their spirituality is, Christian, whatever. We have to find something that's rooting our artwork, because I feel like that is also a system that's being infiltrated. And yeah, we just got to get back to that. Like, yeah.
I like what you said. I mean, there's a lot of what you said that I like, but the most important one I'll say is definitely finding ways to always continue to keep God in the conversation. And I think we've lost that a lot, especially as time has gone on. So it's great to hear someone like yourself who's presenting a presentation like this and just making sure that that's also stated. So I definitely look forward to going here on October the 12th. So it's going from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And what part of town is this in? Just out of my curiosity.
It's actually downtown. The
Okay.
beautiful thing about it, on a spiritual note, is that
Hmm.
it's right on the river. It's right.
Oh. Okay. 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 All right. Well, tickets are in her bio, and would you say go to the Lola Nicole page or the Friends with Imagination page for that link?
Lola Nicole page, and also it's on Posh VIP in the Memphis
Okay.
area, so you can go on Posh VIP and type in Black Art and Black Medicine.
Okay.
Pre-sale does end today, which is the 3rd, and after that, it'll just be regular general admission.
Okay. And the tickets are not are not expensive at all. I wouldn't even say that expensive. They're not expensive at all. I've been to different art shows and I've looked at that price and I'm like, wow, I want to support, but
That's a
you know,
lot.
it's a lot. I ain't gonna lie, man. It's a lot.
A lot.
So yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we got that portion out there and for everybody. Make sure y'all check that out. But let's get into Lola. All right. So you said you grew up in the Memphis area, correct?
Hmm.
Okay. And you said that you went to a Catholic school in a Kojic church.
Yes, I
Whew.
know. I know. I don't know what my parents were thinking, but hey,
All right. Well, I went to a Christian private school for my 6th and 7th grade year, and I go to a Baptist church. So they, the white Baptists and black Baptists is two completely different things. But
yeah.
in general, I'll go to your profile, and the first thing I noticed there, other than you talking about your different, lanes and creativity, which we're going to get to, but I see a Jamaican, and I believe that is a Nigerian flag. Please don't shoot me. I hope I didn't get that wrong.
It is.
Flag in your bio. So, are your parents of Jamaican and Nigerian descent?
So I love this question, and that goes back to kind of talking about the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, her dad is from South Carolina, and
Okay.
so she did a lot of research and digging as much as she could to kind of figure out where we came from when I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
And it traced back to, I think, St. Elizabeth Province in Jamaica.
Okay.
So that is my ancestry and my heritage. They aren't direct descendants of that. Well, they are descendants from that, but they weren't born there. So
Gotcha.
that's that story. Um, Everybody kind of like frowns up when I say this sometimes, but I definitely did like a DNA test to see like everything else that was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And Nigeria was like the big one. So, and
Okay.
it's so funny because when I was in college, I had this TA and I
Mm-hmm.
was sitting there minding my business one day. He was Nigerian and he comes up to me straight up. He's like, "What are you?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I?" He's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Jamaica in America." He's like, "Nah, like you're Nigerian." So I have a Nigerian man telling me like you're Nigerian. I'm like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Yes, you are." I said, "No, I'm not." So years later, I take the DNA test, and I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 47 something or
Okay.
30% Nigerian. So I was like, I guess he knew what he was talking about. But yeah, in that DNA test, it was a lot of things. Somalia, Kenya,
Okay.
Sierra Leone. It was a lot. And I think for me, I was way more European than I would like to be, for sure. Like almost a quarter. And I'm like, what? Bring me back,
Right.
But to answer your question, heritage. My grandfather is from South Carolina, and he also holds that Gullah Geechee culture as well. So I just was very adamant about, even though my parents weren't born there, I want to know where my ancestors are from. That way, I can venerate them and have that cultural knowledge. So those are my two big ones. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at first, this is where my dumb blonde moment is going to come in, and maybe I'm not a dumb blonde for this, but I looked at your email and I saw the NYC, and I thought you might have had roots to New York City. Then I realized
My
you're
middle name.
Ghanaian, and I was like,
Yeah.
so all right. And you mentioned earlier about Alabama too. What part of the family is out there?
So that is my mom's. mom's side of the family.
Okay.
Before we actually got to Mississippi and Tennessee, she said that she found us actually in Alabama first. So
Oh,
that's where we were first. The Louisiana part comes from my direct grandmother, my dad's mom. We had family in Louisiana and Mississippi, and then now we're back in Memphis. So all roads have just seemed to lead to this beautiful city of Memphis, Tennessee. So
the most beautiful land in the world. Yes.
no,
Yes.
for
Yes. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I need to do one on myself because, and I'm gonna ask you later so you can plug the, which sites you used or where you used for the kit. We're not gonna give them
real.
no free promo today. They should actually pay us. And if you want to do that, you just go to her Instagram. We'd be more than happy to be, sponsors for this. But I know that my mom's grandfather was a black man from Sweden,
Okay.
and my dad's father is also from South Carolina, but they said that he was from what would be called Hispaniola, which is now Dominican Republic and Haiti. So I don't know which side. I don't know. This is what I've been
Yeah.
told. So I'm gonna look into that, and then I may do a reveal episode of what my nationality truly is. That should be funny.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think that's cool. I feel like a lot of people. So when you have like the history of South Carolina, obviously like that was like a port in which that
Hmm.
went down if it wasn't Louisiana or Mississippi. And a lot of the people that came from like that South Carolina strip, they were from the Caribbean. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, I would not be surprised at all. I think that it's something that I really do hold close to my heart, which has helped me. And what I tell people is like once you even have like the smallest inkling of something, it may sound woo woo, but like my ancestors have given me clues like along the way. And I feel like that's also the conversation that'll be had like at Black Art and Black Medicine. But I like will be told to do something and I'm like, that makes no sense. And once I do it, like for example, I did something that I just was like, okay, whatever. And my grandma calls me, she's like, oh yeah, by the way, I know you're like really into like our family history, the I Am Man Memorial, like we have a family member's name on that. And so it's like once you start like trying, they meet you where you're at to give you more information about where you do come from. Like my grandmother's adopted mom, who was just her aunt, she was black, white, and Native American. And so I
Okay.
found myself in more spaces that were more indigenous and more native. And I'll have people tell me, like, are you native? I'm like, very little, but like it's there. So it's like you
Yeah.
get confirmation if you just try. You know what I mean? So I just say try and keep finding, keep digging, and don't take no for an answer. I feel like even with hoodoo is a prime example of something that was meant to erase culture. And here we are in
Mhm.
2025 and it's still here. So, they didn't even do a very good job of wiping it out all the way. So I will say if there are even small remnants of things you can hold on to and find, hold on to them and find them because eventually it'll start making a bigger puzzle. It's just a little bit harder for us.
It definitely is, and they definitely like to. I mean, you would probably know more than anybody as far as being a docent how they go out of their way to erase history and erase resources for us in particular.
Yeah,
So it's tougher for us, but you have to keep on digging. You have to keep on finding these things about yourself because if you're not going to do it, who else is going to do it for you? So
right.
I
Right.
definitely understand that for sure. All right. So you mentioned how you've been a creative director since you were 17 years old. All right. So talk to me about what the young Lola Nicole was like, which by the way, um I'm not gonna pull out all of my Nardwuar facts, but I have seen some chit chats. I have
Hmm.
seen like the differences between Get Ready with Me 2025 versus Get Ready with Me low key viral prom edition. Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
So, right. So, talk to me about that upbringing and what really just what you feel like sparked your creativity as a young lady into where we are today?
I will definitely blame it all on private school.
Okay.
To me, private schools are very art forward.
Hmm.
Like I was learning Latin, I think in fifth grade.
Okay.
Like it was just very much art centered, and I also will say it's just Memphis in general. Most schools, especially when we were younger, I don't know what the kids are doing now, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But it just felt like we were younger. Art, it was the movement. It still is, but like you couldn't go to one school and there wasn't a huge art program. There wasn't like this well-known art teacher. And so for me, it's just I went to a few private schools, but the one private school that I really feel like pushed me creatively was ICCS, Immaculate Conception Cathedral School, which I think may be closing down. But in that, I'm like 8 or what, however old I was, working on like clay projects. Like I was building pyramids in like tombs out of clay because I was obsessed with Egyptian stuff. Like, and even going back to that, like spirituality for me has since I was young. Like I used to be obsessed with Egyptians. I would know about like all the goddesses. Like it just kind of found me. And I think as the older I got, it just transcended into different mediums. So I was really big into drawing. Like I know how to draw. And then I remember when we got our first computer. I told my parents, I was like, I want to be a fashion designer. I used to play fashion designer games all the time. So I wrote a letter to Ralph Lauren, and I thought I sent it off. I never heard nothing from him. I was like 7 to this day. I'm a little bit jaded. So Ralph Lauren, if you hear me, get at me. You owe me a conversation. Um, and so then it turned in from that into me doing makeup. Makeup was my first thing, as you've probably seen on my
Okay.
YouTube. That's how that, translated. So it was makeup. And then I'm like, okay, but I have these really cool ideas and concepts. 17, 18, I started working with local photographers in Memphis. Some of them I still work with to this day. And they were just allowing me to go in the studio. And like, I'm just creating all these things. Pinterest, I was on Pinterest. And then that translated into me, I was, like I said, I was on YouTube. I did have a viral moment. I got overwhelmed because at that point, I was only on YouTube for like a year and a half. And I went super viral, and I was like, I was expecting to keep doing this for like 5 years until, but I got scared, went to college. I started modeling in college and doing shoots there, people reaching out to me to work with me. And then that turned into people wanting to pay me to style them, pay me to come up with concepts. And then 2020 happened. I started actually designing clothes, making patterns, sewing the clothes together. I had my first fashion show I put together in November when I was finna graduate college. I've just always been a very I don't even know what it is. And it's far beyond sometimes just like tangible things. If people have like a business idea and they come to me and it's like, Lola, how can I elevate this? I'm gonna
Hmm.
like it's a flow thing, and I don't even mean it to be arrogant. I think it's just people have different things they live and breathe. Like doctors live and breathe being a doctor. Like some people just have an innate ability to do certain things. I don't have that ability to be a doctor, right? I don't have that innate ability to, I don't know, like cook for people. It's a talent. Like I also grew up playing piano. I had recitals. Like I just anything art related, it is truly something I am just obsessed with. And so then that changed into me, having a podcast where I was highlighting creatives. And that's what Friends Imagination is. It's basically telling stories of people because, again, not to be woo woo, but like on that spiritual level, Black people, we've always had folklore and folk tales since the beginning of time. And I feel like we're just losing that. And
Hmm.
so all in all, growing up, if using my hands, like I just like to create, and I feel like growing up, kind of, there's no kind of. I did have it hard. My mom, she got diagnosed with heart and kidney failure as soon as she had me.
Oh.
She had me at 19. And my dad, he went to jail. So he was a convicted felon, and that's so funny. Like people see me and think that like, oh, Lola's got it. I've had to make the most ever since like I was little. Like I had if I didn't, I just don't have a choice. So just growing up, art was my escape. And,
Okay.
having a family who kind of has a background of, addiction, I didn't want to be addicted to anything else other than creating because it was healthy for me. Like it got me in spaces. It was a good coping mechanism. And even now, like with even black art and black medicine, I have not been drinking. I don't want to. Like I want to be high off the stuff that I create, truly. So yeah.
That was great. I'm gonna give you another round of applause for that. That was really good.
Thank you.
The reason I'm doing that, like for the record, is when you say like go into detail like that, there's really nothing else to say. I mean, you really just lay it out there. Like, I mean, and I can't no, and I love it. Don't stop because obviously, some people just love. At least when you're talking about yourself, you're also explaining the story of what's going on. Some people, when they talk about themselves, like I'm one of those people, I can't hide my reaction, and I'll just be like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
For real.
Yeah, like I don't know how to be. I could be rude or like I don't, which I don't do that. But I'm just saying, yeah, that was a great explanation. Thank you. So I think the next thing that I want to get into, as far as your different creative endeavors, is the. I'm gonna, you know what? Let's go with the photo shoots. Now you've had some very interesting photo shoots that I've paid attention to. I'm not gonna lie. For me, I'm going to give you my favorite.
Okay.
And the reason this is my favorite is because as a DJ, I have these little things where I kind of pick up on songs and other references that most people would call samples. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody that knows me knows that every single set that I play, if I am playing anything from Memphis, where them dollars at is going to be used. That is my shit. Like, I love Gangsta Boo. Me and my friends just did a podcast where we ranked the top Southern rappers of all time, and I think Gangsta Boo was like number 17. She was in the top 20. I know that for sure, but she was like number 17 of all time. So the Smart Girls Make Money T, that's probably my favorite because, like I said, the use of where them dollars at, and for the people, I'll show them on the big screen here. That was
Here.
pretty cool. So I do know that you are an engineer, and this was a really great video. As you guys are watching this, when you watch this, you'll see the video of this going on. So tell me how you came up with the concept for this, and talk to me about pack leaders only.
Yeah, so Pack Leaders only started in 2020. I was a server at the time in college, and I honestly really have always wanted to be a designer, like I shared with you. Like I was writing letters to Ralph Lauren, and
Hmm.
you never responded. But I had a dream, and because my grandma, she taught me how to sew. So my grandmother also was very creative. My mama used to make cakes and everything. So anywho, I
Man,
had
I
a
need to
dream.
get a plate.
No, for real. No, seriously. But
For sure.
I had like a dream, and it just was very vivid. Like it was just a very vivid dream. And I remember waking up and I just started loading my sketchbook with drawings. And that had never happened to me before.
Hmm.
Again, like this spiritual thing, like it's not something I can even really explain to people. It's just something that has always happened for me. I never thought it happened to me. I just always thought it happened for me. So anywho, I woke up, I started sketching. I was like, I need a name. And I was listening to Nicki Minaj, and she was like, I lead the pack, my back to them. I said,
Okay.
run it back. Run it back. And so then that's where the name Pack Leaders came from, and Pack Leaders only. And so yeah, so the Smart Girls Make Money tea. In college, I didn't have much money at all. I was working like a job where I was in my department, but I was a front desk like secretary type, and I
Okay.
was making only like $10 an hour, and I was not working very much because I was an engineering student. But I was still finding some type of way to fund like all these photo shoots I was doing. Like, granted,
Hmm.
my photographer at the time, he was very nice, and he was like kind of just, giving me like payment plans and stuff for like, oh, this is a cool concept. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's your birthday, cool. But like the actual like paying for the props, the outfits, I'll never forget. I had worked that all red photo shoot that I've done. It's like kind of foggy, but that one I had bought my first poster girl outfit,
Are
and I
you
had a
talking about heated?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I had my first internship the summer before, so I was able to afford that poster girl fit. That was like $300, and at the time, I didn't even know this is what I was going to wear it for. I just honestly, yes, I had just honestly bought it, and soon later on, I was like, cool. So anyway, I just had always realized when I needed to make money, I have
Mhm.
found a way to make money. Like, and I've done it the ethical way. I've never sold drugs or anything like that. I have just always used my gifts and my crafts to make money. And that's where smart girls make money comes from. And it's not even about working hard, it's about working smart. So it's like using your gifts, putting yourself out there, not being afraid to be who you are. And that makes you a smart girl that makes money. And plus also I pole dance. I'm not a dancer in terms of like at a club, but I don't knock the girls that do. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Of course
like,
not. Of course
you
not.
know, so it's just like to be a girl is to be smart and to know how to make money, and use your gifts and use your talents and hustle. And like we're from Memphis, like that's what we know how to do. We know how to make money. If we don't know how to do nothing else, we know how
You
to
gotta
cook.
get to it. Yeah.
Like, so that's where smart girls make money comes from.
Okay. Okay. So with the pole dancing aspect, what sparked that? Because I know that had to be, and shout out, I forget your dog's name, but
Lily Apple.
Lily Apple. Lily, show your work is for the kids, the women, and for the dogs, for all the dogs. So shout out to Lily. But yeah, what sparked that? Because I know that that was something I wouldn't say that was random, I would imagine, right? That was something that was definitely planned. So walk me through that process and also how you deal with that perception because of it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So again, everything with me sometimes takes a lot of time. I
Okay.
had wanted to start pole dancing back in 2017, but because of that stigma, right? I didn't really do it. I had a cousin or have a cousin who is from Detroit and she would pole
Okay.
dance.
Okay.
So I was like, cool. But I came across this lady, love her dearly. I'm on her Patreon. Her name is Sammy Pacone. She's a light
Okay.
skinned girl. She has a lot of red hair, beautiful. Her movements are so fluid. And she made pole dance and makes pole dance look so artistic. Like
Okay.
it doesn't even, again, it's not even to knock those who do have a different style, but how she does it is so, so fluid. Um, and so, yeah, so I was like, okay, cool. And so I found places here in Memphis and I wanted to do a visual, still working on this visual, still kind of working on things. The next
Okay.
thing that I'm going to be, doing is film in a space of directing, also getting my own camera, having documentaries, short films, all types of stuff like that.
Okay.
But I wanted to do a film because I always tell people I don't compete with those around me like my peers. I look at the women that I want to be at in those spaces and I have internal competition with them in the most healthy way possible.
Okay.
So, with saying that, Beyonce. I love Beyonce's visuals. I love her creative process. I love her creative direction. And I love how she's able to story tell. And I love her visuals. So, I
Hmm.
saw Black is King and I was like, I really want to do a
Okay.
visual poll. So I'm like, oh, like it's gonna just take me 6 months. I'm gonna be the coldest bitch in pole. No, I'm going on like year 2 next year. So it's like, yeah,
A
girl,
work
we
in
thought.
progress.
But for
Yeah.
me, it was one of those things. Growing up, actually, this is gonna be a shocker probably to a lot of people. Before everything, I was an athlete. I grew
Okay.
up playing volleyball. I started playing volleyball, I think, like in 5th grade. I went to like the junior Olympic volleyball team, so competitive volleyball. I did that from 5th grade up until my junior year in high school because my coach was racist and she did not like me. I went to high school in Mississippi, DeSoto Central, so says it all. And
Yes.
so
For
yeah,
sure.
so yeah, I ran track, I did cross country, I played basketball, I played volleyball, I swam, I played softball. and I was very used to being athletic, and sports was actually my first love. Looking back on it, and so when I didn't get to play volleyball in college, it really hurt. And so pole allows me to be very athletic, so I get to include the athleticism and also the creativity. So that's why I love pole. Now the
Hmm.
stigma, I luckily have not had men say anything too crazy to me. I think I give the impression that I will cut somebody out over me because I will, especially a man. Never cared. So there's that, and then people
Yeah,
have unfollowed me, but I think it's just them getting used to like I'm always growing and I'm always growing up. I think people had followed me when I was 17, 18 years old, and now I'm 26 years old. Like I'm not the same. She loves me so bad. Oh my
I
god.
see.
But I'm not the same, that I used to be. So I think people getting adjusted to me actually being a grown woman, and I actually did perform. I did a show in front of people, and I will have another show that I'm performing in December with Pole. I
Okay,
think people are just having a hard time of like, okay, I know she's not a stripper, but like, what is she doing? So it's just like
gotcha.
I don't really care. It's fun. It's beautiful. I enjoy doing it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So thank you for answering that. And I was gonna ask you. I know we transitioned to the poll and we talked about my favorite photo shoot. Now I know everything that you do as an artist and multifaceted artist, it's like a baby. So everything, you have different children and you love different children in their own way. But if you
Yeah.
had to pick your favorite photo shoot or video shoot that you were a part of, that you were creative director part of, that you basically led, what has been your favorite one so far? And what's an underrated one that you would want people to go back to?
My favorite one so far, I think it has to be Heated. I
Okay.
think that was a space where I was trying to be more. Okay, so this is actually going to go back to the poll thing as well, but that was a space where I was trying to not give sex appeal, but as a young lady, I was trying to grow up. Like I said, at that point, that was right after I crossed. So that was probably like 22, late 2021, early 2022. So I'm leaving college. I need something that's kind of giving me like that, whatever the case may be. Um,
Gotcha.
and it was that shoot, and that's when Beyonce Renaissance album had came out, and I remember just hearing Heated, and I'm like, I've always low key felt jaded. One thing about me, I will say this: I feel like people see me sometimes, but don't necessarily want to give me my flowers for whatever strange reason. So I will always, yes, I will always puff my chest out, and I did my big one on that. Like that, I remember posting that, and people were like, "Oh, so she really is a creative director? Like that girl, she's not fucking playing." No, I wasn't playing. So that's my favorite one.
No, I wasn't fucking playing. It's funny.
And it also got me into that femininity aspect. And I tell people all the time, like as a woman, sex appeal, if you don't naturally have it, it is still something that can be like, taught to you. And so yeah, but my most underrated one, I don't think it's up there anymore,
Hmm.
but it was like a black shoot that I did with like a rhinestone hat. This was before Renaissance, which was so crazy. This was
Okay.
before Renaissance, and I had seen this rhinestone hat that Solange had, and I was like, I want to recreate this in my own way. Bullshit you not. Not even 6 months later, Beyonce dropped the Renaissance album, and everybody was wearing them damn hats with the rhinestones and all the shit on it. I said, excuse me? So that So yeah, I had posted that, and then all of a sudden, everybody named Mama had them hats, and I said, "Y'all know y'all can." And somebody actually, before it even went viral, like in terms of Beyonce,
Hmm.
somebody came to me and was like, "Hey, girl, love this idea. Just letting you know, I'm gonna steal this from you." And that's what it's like being a creative as well. A lot of times people see things and they just want to do it better than you, or just they don't want to pay you. It's a lot of things. And I think that's what a lot of creatives go through. but it was
Oh yeah.
actually, don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it was this shoe.
Okay, I think I've seen that one. Is it? Let me see. What day does it have on the? What's the date on that one?
I'm finna put it back on my page.
Okay,
June. It was 2022, June 2nd.
June 2nd. Okay, bet,
Hmm.
bet. And I mean, you think about how long ago that was. Like, wow, bro, it was 3 years ago since Renaissance. Wow, where's the time go?
No, seriously. But Act Three, I'm in there. I love rock. And there's a few shoots that I just really don't even have on my page anymore. But
Mhm,
I'm like really obsessed with Rico Nasty. So at one point when I was in college, and I remember, I don't think people realize that just because people typically post something,
mhm,
it doesn't necessarily mean that they like the attention or they're doing it for attention. Because I vividly remember when I started to post like my photo shoots in college, specifically this one, the Rico Nasty one, I was literally sweating in class. I'm like, everybody's gonna think I'm weird, like they're gonna think like I'm some goth girl. When it had came back that some people were like, "Oh my god, like Lola, you're weird now," and I'm like, "No, I'm not weird. I just genuinely, I
You
just this
just
is who I am."
genuinely, yeah, you're just who you are. Yeah. And I mean, that's the most important thing I think about being an artist or just in general expressing yourself. Like I kind of said earlier, like if you're not gonna do it, who's gonna do it for you?
I agree.
I would rather you be yourself and be proud of who you are than to not be yourself and then hate what you've become.
I
So
agree.
I definitely understand that for sure. But yeah, I mean, going back to it, just think about now how many times I see Renaissance hats and just like even I think I told this story, but even like in my last set that I did, it was like a lot of cowboy hats that came in. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? Like I didn't know. And they had a Beyonce birthday
Oh
party
yeah, yeah,
down the
yeah,
street and they walked in. I was like, okay, this all makes sense right now. So
yeah.
yeah, but now shout out to the whole. I love seeing women in the cowboy outfits and just embracing, especially our culture when it comes to the real black cowboys, things of that nature,
Yep.
because that's what we originally were. And I love that. Now I'm gonna be real with you, being from a rural area. You can't get me to listen to country music to save your
No,
life. I
no.
apologize to people that love country music. It's just not me. I love Beyonce. I give her respect. I do remember when Act Two came out,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, Beyonce got these Red Dead Redemption outfits on. What's going on? Is this Red Bone Redemption? What's going on? And it was, but I do appreciate when people embrace it. Now, me again, I like all types of music, so I'm kind of all over the place. And that's what I was gonna get to you next, as far as the main thing that I really know you for, which is DJ Brilli.
Yeah.
So talk me through the process of becoming DJ Brilli and the differences between DJ Brilli, the person that we see out, and Lola when she's not doing anything creative? Like, what are some of those main differences?
Well, DJ Brilli, like I said, I actually grew up playing piano,
Okay.
and I loved music. Like my
Mhm.
grandmother is, 20 years apart from my great grandmother. So my great grandmother is 20 years apart from my grandmother. My grandmother is 20 years apart from my mom, and then my mom is 20 years apart from me. Yeah, I was just around everything musically. And I remember being in like my childhood house in the garage, like playing with like the dryer stand, like like the head dryer, it comes with a stand. So like that was my microphone. And so like I'm performing. And I know damn well I can't sing. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do musically, but I know it's something. And I remember being a lot of things. I looking back on it, I think were seeds in college. But I just
Okay.
was so gung ho on graduating and not even wanting to be an engineer, wanting to be a creative. But I'm in this, because of the money, blah blah blah. But a lot of seeds were planted in college, and I remember some girl put on her story like, if you could have any dream job, what would it be? It's like 2017. I was like, a DJ, just kind of like throwing it out there. And she's like, I can see that, because I would always post music. I would always post like playlists, and like even you see now when I post my shoots, the song is like perfectly curated. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward, has to be like 2 years ago now. About, I bought my first board, and it was a small Pioneer board, and I just like posted my story. Like I didn't have people like telling me, "Oh, Lola," like I didn't have DJ friends at the time. Like it just was me wanting to be a DJ. So I had this board, blends, trash. Like I didn't really have the stems. Like I'm just like, I'm trying, and
I got you.
because we all been there. But I reached a point where I was like, okay, well, I have no DJ friends. These YouTube videos, aren't really doing a lot for me. And DJing was one of those things where I was like, okay, God, like if I'm supposed to be doing it, it'll find me again, whatever the case may be. Like most things, I ran into like this young man I was like talking to at the time, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a DJ." I was like, "1 second." So I pull out my board, and he was like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "We need to get you back into it." I'm like, "Cool." So because of him, I will say I did pick my board back up, and then I started being around more DJs, and they were like, "Nah, friend, like you got to keep going." And I think to have like DJs tell you to keep going when they're already in their field and they've been in that for like 6 years now, 10 years now, and they're looking at you, on your year and a half, and they're like, "No, keep going." Like it does something to you that's like, okay, maybe I am supposed to keep going. Um, so I kept going, and I was like, this is the most Leo thing ever. I'm a Capricorn, but I have a Leo rising. So it makes sense that I'm going to say. But I'm like, okay, well, I want to DJ my own birthday party. And that was like my first debut as a DJ. I spent one whole year, on and off trying to figure out how to DJ, perfecting like, understanding BPMs, understanding like the foundation things of DJing, syncing, beat matching, like all type of stuff like that. So it got to my birthday, and I started panicking. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to DJ on this baby ass rain like Pioneer board. What am I gonna do? And so I just didn't want to do that. So
His
I
baby ass board is funny.
it's so small.
Yeah.
I ended up buying Rain for like
Mm.
3 weeks before my birthday. So I'm like, so I'm DJing the set on my birthday. The speakers is like messing up. Like it looks like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, oh my God, like this is so terrible. Like I had my people like looking at me like, oh God, Lola, like what the hell? But I still did it. What actually ended up happening is that on Serato, it has an option for play out of MacBook laptop speakers. So when you're fading over into the next song, it's giving really bad feedback. And everybody thought it was my board, but it wasn't my board. It ended up being
It's
Serato. So
yeah.
people were like, "You need to learn how to use your board." I'm like, "Bitch, it's not my board." Like, I know there's all
Like,
these effects
bitch,
on,
I prepared for this.
you
Like, you
know,
have no idea how long you haven't been up in the wee hours of the crack of
you
night
know,
to do
because
this shit.
I was panicking. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, like it's not my board. So it actually ended up being Serato. And so I just remember like panicking, but I had my DJ friends with me there. And I just remember going home, and the next day after everybody had left, like after the stuff had died down, it's like 2 or 3 days now, and I was like, bro, I really fucked up. Like I really don't know if I should continue DJing. Somehow, I think I just shook it off, and that was January. February, I said, I want to do something crazy. So I made a whole pitch deck, went up to Bricks Museum, shout out to Emma, and I said, hey, I want to have a women's, history month event here. I want 5 female DJs, women of color, and I want to spend here in the museum. Do you think that can happen? She said, I love that fucking idea. We did it. That was and as a DJ, I'm not gonna lie. I think one thing, and I don't want to talk about like outsiders, but I think a lot of people are wondering, A, who I am for some reason, B, how did I do it? My first show, real show, was the Brook Show as a DJ. That was my third month DJing publicly,
Oh,
and that was my first show. I don't,
wow.
you know,
That's tough.
after that, I got a call or a DM from someone who wanted me to do Porch Fest. That was like a few weeks later. After Porch Fest, I ended up at Cameo. After Cameo, I had an in at St. Jude, and it kind of the ball has just been rolling. So DJ Brilli, that was a play on words of when I launched my collection before Smart Girls Make Money was about being a multi hyphenate person. Um, it was about just having all these gifts and talents, and your brilliance is your best currency. And so there was already a DJ Lola. I didn't want to be DJ Lola Nicole, so
And
Billionaire.
and shout out to DJ Lola. I've met her. She's really nice. She's
She's
really cool.
And so after that, I posted, and some dude DM'd me and commented, "Hey, DJ Brilli." I said, "That's hard." So they ended up being DJ Brilli, and that's how I am where I'm at now.
First of all, I will say that I do remember seeing, like, when I did my research, the shoot for pack leaders where you did the brilliant, it had the stars. It's like your
Oh
logo
yeah,
like all over the place. And I was like, I can't never wear no shit like this. But it was fire. I just want you to know it was really fire. So, but you just said it. You see how if you keep going, it all eventually works out. And that's the problem and that I feel like a lot of people have where they let it stop them for so long, then they don't keep on going because you're going to have moments where things don't work out in your favor. I mean, earlier this summer, I had a set. It was the same day as the first Equinox, where Zach Fox was there. I'm like, man, I think people will come in around this time. I go on Instagram, and the sound was messed up. His set went longer. It was going on in my set, and I was like, damn, like, ain't no, how people missed out. Well, later on, people saw me at Cameo and they're like, wow, I'm glad I finally saw you. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, like I've been that guy, but and I'm not saying that in a cocky way, but
yeah,
just
yeah,
you have to have that, feeling about yourself, I'll say.
for sure.
And honestly, yeah, I think anybody I give advice, like you gotta just go in the deep end. You really do. Because if you don't go on that deep end, you're not gonna know what to really expect. And honestly, always try to challenge yourself with what you do. Like, granted, for example, my main genre is gonna be always rap, then probably like R&B, a little bit after that. I do love electro, I do love house and things like that. But like reggaeton has been more of a challenge because I love it, but I've had to really go back to it to really remember like what I love and then try to blend it in. But I think, and I'll ask you this, what is something that you wish you knew now, here as of today, when you first started in that quote unquote cave last year when you were preparing for this moment? What's something that you wish you had known that you would want to express to somebody who may see this as a way for them to keep on going, like we've been talking about?
Um, there's a few things like, and this is a talk that I'm currently having with myself, even with you saying like, be sure to keep going because there's moments now. Hell, last week, I was like, why am I doing this shit? Like, bro, but
Nah, and then I mean we can get as real as hell on there. I mean, because we've
um,
talked about it a little bit, but like, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. But going back to that first year, like keep having fun with it. Like my style starting out was still very much I will say just be around everything. I think because at the time I'm an R&B girly through and through. Like that's what I listen to mostly. But also with me saying that, like your style is your style. Like a lot of people, they're used to hearing DJs only when they go to the club, so they're used to hearing like, I'm from Memphis. So sometimes like when I did my show in Nashville, when I was making my set list, I felt very obligated to like play a lot of Memphis music because like I'm this girl from Memphis coming to Nashville, and my homies were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, Lola, like play what you want to play," and that's what I was still telling myself in that first year. Like growing up, I told you I went to private school, so I did get made fun of for like listening to at the time what I didn't know was house. I didn't know it was electronic music, and I loved it. Then I got around like us, and they're like, "Girl, turn that shit off." I'm like, "Oh." So it's like when you start DJing and practicing, like that still is in the back
Yeah.
mind, like nobody's gonna fuck with this shit because they didn't, like it back then. But I think just continue having fun with it. Like, don't be afraid to mess up, and just try different things. Like, and learn your board until you can't learn it anymore. Like, even my Rain 4, I want another board so bad, but I'm not going to until I learn how to use every FX on there, like everything I possibly can, until I'm comfortable with that. So that's what I just keep having fun, and don't really take it serious. I feel like the moment that you take anything serious, but especially DJ, take your job serious,
Of
but
course.
don't take the DJ like serious, because people have 1,000 rules now of what makes a good DJ, what makes a terrible DJ. Like, DJs got to learn how to do this. DJs, if you don't know how to do this, you're not a real DJ. And it's like, bro, at the end of the day, I'm getting paid for this gig. You're not. If they left satisfied, that's all that matters. I don't care what you gotta say. So
The main thing I always tell people is find your tribe. Always find like the people that you feel aligned with, because you talked about like being around us. If I was if I was out with my homies going to level 2 back in the day, and they were like, and I told them about Daft Punk, they probably look at me crazy. They'd be
yeah,
like, what are you talking about? Like, nigga, cut that boot dirty back on, like,
I mean,
or something like that. But I think that in general, you always have to find what fits you. For example, I've seen you DJ before. You're awesome.
thanks.
Uh, me, I'm not really a big stem user. I'm
Mm,
not really a big blender in that way. So I usually just let either a bass version or like a pre-already remixed version just speak for itself without doing too much of effects. That's just me. And I like how I do it, but I love watching people and their ways and methods of doing it. Like, that's why, like, when I saw you, like, I'm trying not to be like, focused too much, but I'm like, let me just see. Everybody's process is different, so watching yours is pretty cool. And then again, I like your Rain for. Shout out to my homie Bree Mafia. She has a two-tone Rain, so like one side is one color, hers is the other color. So I always like watching those. Yeah, pretty cool. So I just would recommend everybody find the people that are going to care and stop trying to impress the people that honestly aren't. Because, like you said perfectly, if everybody left having fun, everybody, you enjoyed what you did that night, and you got paid, like, that's what
what are we
matters.
talking about?
Yeah, what that's what matters at the end of the day, because there's always going to be someone that's going to come up and say, oh man, you didn't play this song. Like, this would have went crazy if you would have played this. There's always gonna be somebody trying to do extra suggestions that honestly just do not matter.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. I definitely had my villain origin story after Grind City Flow with Rose. Shout out to Rose. But
we love Rose. Shout out to
no,
Rose.
for real, I had
Yeah.
my show there, and she was, no, Nico was spinning after me.
Mhm.
And or I went first. No, Rose went.
Shout,
Whatever.
shout out to Bloomhouse.
Right. I got done DJing, and I go
Mhm.
outside, and this guy, he was like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He was like, "Great song choices, great song selection." But in short, he told me that my transitions like sucked. And I was like, okay, all right. And in that moment, like it really, again, that's the thing of like, why am I doing this shit? Like that shit hurt. And it's so funny because again, on a spiritual level, so many people after that came up to me and was like, bro, like your set was fire, like your transitions were so lit. And it, as much as they were telling me that, unfortunately, out of the 6 people, 10 people that told me I did well, I was still focused on that one person that told
Mhm.
me that I didn't do a good enough job, who also wasn't a DJ. And I ain't gonna lie, I went home and I didn't turn my phone on for real. And I went in the lab and I'm like, I know I don't suck, but like I'm finna, yeah. And I did. And so ever since then, like I've been able to just be, I don't know, sometimes you need that one person for that criticism, no matter if it's like real or like whatever, and you take it and it may hurt. Cause also nobody wants to hear right after their set. Like right after the set is crazy. But I still kind of took that and was like,
Yeah.
okay, I can't please everybody, but I also am not above enough of myself to think that I can't, still learn. But no, my transitions were not trash. I don't know where they came from, but nonetheless, I took it and I did have to do, and I'm really excited because now like I get to play at Sapphics on Halloween, and then Rose has another show that she has tongue in cheek. I'm really excited to play that as well.
Yeah. 1017, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm just excited. And I think, those spaces, I think as a what I would tell myself too is to also just in general for any like new DJs, this is something that I still did. So I don't have to give myself advice for this a year ago. But I knew I didn't want to be in the club. Like, no offense, like I knew I didn't want to be at Crew. I knew I didn't want to be at Level 12. I knew that, or District 12. I knew I didn't want to be in any of those places. Like,
Yeah.
I knew my sound was a very specific sound. That's why
Hmm.
I did have to be a Cameo. I did have to curate different shows. I did have to be on my friends' shows because that's a safe environment to play what you want to play and never feel like you have to compromise your sound for a
Right.
check. The moment that you start DJing for a check, like it's just no longer fun or creative, and that's with any creative endeavor. So
Hmm.
if you're proud, and if you can't find it, make it. Like,
That's it. That's it. And I'm again someone like myself who started DJing when I was 17 in the year of our Lord 2010 and seeing how in the last 15 years just the different ebbs and flows and changes. I'm very proud that not only do more creatives have space to do their thing in the city, but women are
yeah,
able to be because back then I hate to say it. No, I know. And again, shout out to Ina Esco. Shout out to so many of the women back then that were doing their thing. But now, like, it's just everywhere. And I love it. And that's why I commend you guys because, again, I know what you have to go through as a DJ. I can only imagine what you have to deal with as a woman because I believe all men should stay out of women business where the offset. So so to see you guys doing your thing and curate spaces where you feel safe, you feel comfortable, and you get to play what you want without
yeah,
having to conform, I guess would be the word to use.
right,
Yeah, I think that's the most important. So I'm glad to see that for you, for Rose, and just for everybody that's in that community. So anytime I can come out and support, I definitely will. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Some stuff I'm like, okay, this is for all women. I'm not
yeah,
I'm not gonna show up for this one. I'll support it, but I
yeah.
don't yeah, but definitely great to see you guys doing your thing. So all right, well, I do have one more portion and this is based on research of you,
Okay,
and it's called I used to call it what did I used to call this one because I haven't done one of these in a long time. So again, thank you for allowing me to do this today. But pretty much many people okay, and my USB is going out on me because I started giving women their props, and now it's acting weird. And I'm not editing any of this. I'm keeping all of this so that y'all can see how funny this is for this particular portion. But anyway, what I was gonna ask you is I have a segment called This or That,
okay,
right? But now I'm gonna call it Take Your Pick.
okay,
So off with some music that I think that you would definitely appreciate. All right. So Smino or Brent Fayez? You're gonna
oh,
have to pick one.
dang. uh
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
man, I love me some Brent. That's not my answer though. I love me some Brent. But I'm gonna have to go. It's
But
Smino all the way. Like
okay, okay.
Smino found me like late high school, early
Mhm,
college, amphetamine, wild hours roses, like all that. Him also with I think Monte Booker or something like that. Their song
mhm.
they had. Yeah, colors, bro. Smino, even the way down to the way he dresses. I've seen Smino in person. Actually, love Smino.
Okay.
Smino all the way down. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Playboy Cardi or Saw Baby?
Is Side Baby the one that made pull up with a stick?
He is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry, Playboy Cardi.
That's fine. I've got two good friends. Shout out to Marcel and Ashton. They are huge Saw Baby fans. They gonna watch this and they gonna go crazy for you saying that. All right. Ooh, let's see. Let's go. Let's go. Female rap.
Okay.
Rico Nasty or Megan Thee Stallion.
Rico Nasty. You
Okay.
lost me
Okay.
when I
All
tell
right.
you there's a shoot. I don't think I was trying to show you earlier, but there was a shoot that I literally did in college. That was I've been trying to get Rico Nasty's attention since like 2018. That girl still ain't noticed me. I don't know what I got to do. Rico, listen, I can DJ for you, a set design, girl, something. Like literally, I'll show you. This is like, oh, my phone's tweaking. Oh, it hates me. I'll just show you later. But yeah, no, Rico Nasty hands down.
Rico Nasty. Okay. 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 Because I know you have an appreciation for old school music as well, like what we would call old school now, which is kind of crazy that that's old school. But Beyonce or Whitney Houston?
I'm gonna go Beyonce. Like I know it's just Whitney
It's
Houston.
fair.
I think she's very legendary. I think she definitely is the mother for a lot of people. I know people
Yeah.
like Brandy, Kiki Palmer, but I just wasn't. I like Whitney Houston's personality, funny as hell for sure. But in
Oh
terms
yeah,
of like who I
definitely.
connect with the most, it would be Beyonce.
Okay. The the controller that you have to DJ with, or the camera that you use for photo shoots?
That I use or my photographer will use.
We'll go with that one that your photographer uses. Really, what I'm asking is DJing versus creative directing shoots.
Oh,
I have to make it tough. I can't, I can't make it too easy.
I feel like creative directing the shoots
Okay.
because I feel like if I didn't start out creative directing, I wouldn't have had like the skill to like curate an actual good set. Like when I DJ'd at Cameo, I had people telling me they were finna go home and call their ex. I had people telling me they were finna go home and make a baby. I had people telling me that they were finna go home and cry. I had people telling me a wave of things, but that all comes from me being able to curate emotion out of people. And I feel
Hmm.
like if I never started out with like creative directing and pulling people's emotions from a visual, I wouldn't have been able to do that with music. So
Okay. All right. Indoor DJing or outdoor DJing?
mm, bro, it depends on the weather. Because I will say, when I DJ with Rose for Grind City Flow, I'm not gonna lie, I've been having a lot of wake up calls because it was hot as hell, and I'm like, Rose, how much longer? I'm like, I'm finna like I'm sweating, makeup dripping, headphones sliding. I'm like, bro. But also, if you go outside on a hot day, it's just hot as hell. You know what I mean? But I do like DJing outside. I feel like inside, if the conditions are right, and that wasn't nobody's fault. It's just that's how it is when you DJ. Like you're in the moment, you're sweating, you're hot as hell. Hella people in there, they're having a good time, body heat. So I would prefer that shit be outside, but realistically,
Okay. Whew. I think I'm gonna make this the last one. This might be the toughest one for me. I ain't gonna lie. Memphis barbecue or Mississippi catfish?
Mississippi catfish. I'm sorry.
Ah.
Only because right now I've
Ah.
been plant based since like
Tough.
2019.
Okay.
But one thing that will always make me slip is a piece of catfish,
Mm,
specifically from Mississippi, or
mm,
some crab. Them two things,
mm.
I'm gonna be like, you know what, just for today.
I've been allergic to. I found out I had an allergy, so I can't eat seafood. But I'm
Oh,
good with, yeah, with shellfish really. But I'm good with catfish still. So catfish is my favorite dish, and I used to go to Mississippi with my dad all the time to go fishing for
mhm.
like work trips and stuff like that. I don't have it with me, but one day I have to take a picture, post it on the gram. I got like this trophy from when I was super young. Like we won the fishing tournament, all type of stuff like that. But like Corinth, Mississippi, like different
Yeah.
places. Yeah. So yeah, I would probably myself go with the Memphis barbecue by this much. And if you're watching this, you can see my fingers are touching each other because that's how close it is. But man, yeah, yeah. Well, Lola, thank you for your time for this portion. Where can the people find you? And if somebody wants to hit you up for any type of artist direction, book you for a show, tell us where we can find you and how they can go about doing that.
Of course, my personal Instagram is the Lola Nicole, TheLollaNychole. You guys can DM me. In terms of booking with me, still hit my DM. My email is also in my bio as well. Let me know what you need, what you're looking for. And yeah, and Friends with Imagination is the media page, pack leaders only, all those good things.
All right. Are we gonna see a return of the One Word podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay. All
Absolutely.
right. I look forward to it. Well, thank you again for your time and make sure you guys check her out first for Black Art and Medicine, October the 12th, then October 17th for Tongue in Cheek. Make sure you also support mutual aid because we are in messed up times right now, ladies and gentlemen, and we need all the help we can get. And we should be saluting those brave enough to say, I need help
Yes.
versus the ones who are just holding it in because people are suffering out here, guys.
Yes.
So yes, October 17th, and then what else do we have coming up?
The Sapphic show, that'll be October 31st. I'm playing from 11:30 to 2 a.m. I
Okay, all
know.
right. Well, I look forward to all that, and again, thank you so much. And again, if you want to support me, if this is your first time ever hearing me talk in long form, I appreciate you watching this because of Lola. Thank you. I appreciate it. You can find me at Hello DJ Larry on every single platform. And as far as this podcast, it is at SYWNET everywhere. On Instagram, I think there's an underscore in the between because somebody already took it. But again, thank you guys for tapping in. And I cannot wait to check out Black Art and Medicine. I'll probably be flooding my feed that Sunday, which is actually this Sunday coming up. So make sure you guys check that out. And again, Lola, this was awesome. I appreciate your time today. And,
Yeah.
make sure you check us out, man. See you guys when I see you.